my audience, Lydia, Tara, Anna, Enrique, Josh, Austin, and Matea. When asked to do a speech on an important day in history, most people would choose their birthday. I, on the other hand, chose the day before I was born, so that I could know what the world was like mere hours before I came to be in it. July 30th is often overlooked or forgotten in history. It has some of the more memorable and interesting moments in history. On this day, there have been great amounts of terrorism and conflict, political activity, and tragedy. First, we start with conflict and terrorism. In 1914, Nicholas II of Russia moved thousands of Russian troops to the Austrian front of World War I. This was one of the first and many bloody battles of World War I, where millions of men were killed. In 1942, the SS German Guard murdered 25,000 Jews. This was a large slaughter and one of the first slaughters of Jews during the war. Now we move on to political activity. As found in On This Day in History for July30th.com, in 1863, President Abraham Lincoln enacted his Eye for an Eye order. For this order, every African American prisoner that was shot by the Confederacy, there would also be a Confederate soldier and prisoner shot in their place. Also, for every African American man, woman, and child, there would be a Confederate prisoner also shot, or also enslaved with harsh physical and manual labor. In 1956, the saying, "In God We Trust," was made the U.S. motto. This was important because it is so controversial in citizens today. In 1965, President LBJ signs a bill in the U.S. enacting Medicare for the elderly citizens and Medicaid for the poor and lower class citizens. Now we move on to the great tragedy that happened on July 30th, 1945. According to the Navy's role in finding the USS Indianapolis was sailing to the island of Tinian delivering parts of the Little Boy nuclear bomb. They had to leave the island with no escort for the destroyer due to the secrecy that needed to happen to conceal what their real plan was for the enemy. A Japanese submarine sunk the USS Indianapolis that night in 12 minutes. 300 of the sailors on board died initially when it went down. The remaining 900 sailors were set adrift in the sea, where all but 316 died over the course of 4 days. They died due to shark attacks, exposure to the elements, dehydration, and drowning. These have been some of the more memorable events that happened on July 30th throughout the years. From conflict to tragedy, July 30th has seen a lot of history. I hope that some of you have a greater appreciation for this day due to the great history that it holds.